You're up 2-0. What's the story? Are you not happy, or you're only half happy, or?
Still to be happy about.
You're up 2-0.
Job's not finished. Job finished? I don't think so.
Now, when I was a young boy.
Resilience means you don't stop, and if you don't stop, you always learn. And if you always learn, you're going to become brilliant. So.
The greatest man alive.
Now we have no choice. Now we're not leaving until we get it done.
What's the point of this trip?
Customers. I'm gonna go meet customers, gonna make sure everything's going well, film some case study videos with them, and then, put Certus on the map in terms of content. And we've not been in the US, and so we haven't really had the ability to go to our customers and get case studies and stuff. And so right now, in terms of how good Certus is, all of that has come from us and the reviews, but the goal is to get case study testimonials and then be able to actually hear from our customers how much they love the product. So pushing it out into the world and marketing has always been a second thought to us. I understand that can't be the case anymore, and the best way to show proof of concept or to show that this product works is having people who have spoken about the product to actually speak about it. And so the aim of this case study was, how can we now actually get those testimonials in the world, those case studies, and show other restaurateurs that real restaurants use this, real restaurants the same as you, very similar stories, the pain that they went through before Certus, and what Certus has done for them. So we've just landed in Niagara Falls, the New York side, and it's currently almost 12, and we're thinking, just because of the fact that all we need to do is sleep, wake up, and then go see customers, because we have 2 back-to-back customers to see right after each other. It's why go and find a hotel where we could just sleep here? Yeah. So it was 3:30 a.m. still fully wide awake, and I knocked on Kofi while he was trying to sleep, and I was yo bro, we need to go. It's what? I'm bro, it's 3:30. It's been 4 hours since we got here. I've not had a blink of sleep. I've just been up. I don't know what happened. I just could not sleep. Found a hotel, called the guy up. I was we just got in. He was if you come in now, I'll price match. So I was fuck it, let's go. And then the guy in the Uber told us that this is the best wing spot in Buffalo. And as per our luck, because I don't know, we've just been getting very lucky this trip, the wing spot ended up being attached to the hotel. So now we're trying buffalo wings, and apparently wings were made in Buffalo. And so as part of being in the food ecosystem, we're doing market research and whatnot, and so educating ourselves. We have 2 customers that we're going to see today. One of them ended up one of them yesterday, it was Easter, and what happened is they asked us to turn their AI off, and we did. But what happened is we had a line of code that literally just re-toggled it back on after a certain period, because instead of pausing it for the day, it paused it for 5 minutes, because we have pauses, and essentially the time variable got switched, and it toggled it back on, and our customer ended up taking orders. And this is one that we were meant to do a testimonial with today. And if I was in his position, I'd understand why he would be pissed, why he'd be angry, because bear in mind, he gets 50 orders a day, but 4 customers placed an order yesterday on Easter. One of them, which was 21 items, and they pulled up to the restaurant, no one was there, obviously. And so, these are the ups and downs that happen where things are going so well for one customer, they're one of your best customers to work with, and the day you're about to go and film in-person testimonials, shit just hits the fan. So it's part of the game. It's something that I'm also learning, but more importantly than that, I had to have a good chat with the team, talking about how could we let something like this slide, something so simple, especially in a scenario where on our side the effort to make that work is 5 minutes, whereas for our customers it causes us so much harm. It was a good overall experience, and I think it almost had to happen to this severity in a situation where we're gonna go see the customer, so I could really drive the point home. I think a lot of the times the situation may seem bad, but you can always turn it into a good lesson. And even if we don't get the testimonial today, I think I really drove the point home to the team yesterday about how this is not acceptable, that we've built incredible things, but having little things like this slip by is just not what we hold our standard to. The way that I look at Certus is that we're all on a ship.
and everyone is on the ship, whether they're in the middle of the ship, whether they're at the back of the ship, whether they're at the front, whether they're, manning the flag. And what that means is if someone at the front of the ship causes a hull, even if you're at the back, you shouldn't feel scared to bring it up, because if it sinks, we all die, right? So you can't be scared to bring up the fact that we have a massive leak in the boat. And secondly to that, if a hole in the ship has been caused, then it's not this thing of like us pointing fingers. It's let's fix this fucking hole first, and then we can figure out why that hole was caused and how we can prevent it in the future. You pushing people on your team to their highest standards makes them realize how powerful they are, not how shitty of a boss you are, right? And I think that only great people think that way, and that's something that I've seen in Certus, is like me pushing and being harsh on deadlines inspires them to figure out how to work faster and still get the same level of output, rather than them feeling like overworked and pushed. And I think that's something very special.
Like, worst comes to worst, I wouldn't even be mad that we came all the way to Buffalo and stuff, because I think it's like a valuable lesson that could stop so much issues that come up in the future. So it's very hard to look at it that way. But the other option is just you could sit and be sad and sulk, and that's not what we do. So. Right now we've got like a dashboard for these restaurants, which is a web-based dashboard, and so we've been showing them how to like add it to their home screen and save it as like a web app. But the problem is it's not easily accessible. It's not in their current like everyday flow. And again, you have to like listen to your customers and get feedback. I did like a week's worth of check-in calls, and I think almost every single person I spoke to besides one mentioned that having a native app for both their Android or iOS device would be way more helpful. And so I started building it out. I built like basically everything myself, and it's kind of like this is like their overview page. So it's like Certus made you X amount of this week, 88% handle rate, and then 10 knowledge gaps. This is basically going to disappear with the new feature that we've created, but this is for them to fill out. And so the way that I've tried to make this is as intuitive as possible, because at the end of the day, what I want our customers to be able to see is the main metrics that they want to see at any given point in time. So as soon as they open the app, it shows them this metrics, which is like, for example, if they wanted to see how much revenue was handled yesterday, how many calls they got, how many orders, that kind of thing, right? And then what they would be able to do as well is be able to see like revenue trends over time, call activities, peak hours, that kind of stuff. But if I go to call logs as an example, it basically defaults how I made this. And again, this is like, how can you reduce friction at any point in time, right? So essentially how this was is it would default to all call types, right, previously. So they'd go in here and they'd be able to see all call types. But the restaurants mainly care about revenue generating things. And a restaurant is either going to be reservation heavy or order heavy, very rarely both. And so what I basically set was that when they click on call logs, they can't click this drop down to go to all types, but it defaults to the option that they have the most of. And so they immediately see the orders, because for example, if they had like 5 calls that asked about opening hours, those would be the first 5 calls, and then have to scroll down to be able to see the order. So it's how can we ensure that they can get to what they want with the least amount of touches or movement. Restaurant owners are, time strapped and money strapped, and also like skill strapped, because all they know is making beautiful food and serving it to great customers. It's not their job to be in the tech space and start building tools themselves. And so if you're going to build a tool for them, make it useful and make it solve an entire problem, not just one part of the problem, which is why we didn't settle for an AI voice agent that can only take reservations, because many restaurants take orders. And so that's why it was very important to us. And so I'm very excited for this to roll out. I think it's going to be a game changer for our customers and their staff members as well. Yeah.
If you leave me, baby, say you won't be back, that would be.
Do you guys spice it like before and after? Just before. Yeah. Who makes the spices? Oh, there you go. There's the little. I feel like I can't like, I feel like it's like asking like a magician their secret, I don't even want to ask like what's in there.
Right. It's magic.
The way I got into the restaurant industry was when I was 9 years old. So my parents moved from India to South Africa. I was born in South Africa, and that's when they opened up their first restaurant when I was 9 years old. And it was one of the first Punjabi restaurants in Cape Town at the time. The way that I started, or my first job, was answering the phone for them. And the reason for that is because as an independent restaurant, right, you're too busy playing all the hats, right? You're the chef, you're dealing with suppliers, you're training the staff members, and the last thing that you can do is like grab the phone whilst all of this stuff is going on, especially at a busy restaurant. And it's the last thing that you can do, but as an independent, it's also something that you can't afford to do, right? Which is miss these phone calls because they're cost revenue. And so my job was answering these phones for them in their restaurant, and that's how I kind of got into space. By the time I was 17, we had 8 restaurants, and I was part of all those restaurants in terms of like helping with training, the technology, the social media, that kind of stuff. A lot of stuff that my parents couldn't do because I was learning that going into school. And then I did some more self-reflection. I was like, wow, this was like a big problem for us. And as we grew from 1 to 8 locations, this problem did not go down. I was having to train staff on how to pick up the phone. And so that kind of became a full circle moment, and we're like, holy shit, why don't we just go all in on building this one thing, which is what Certus AI is today. Do you have the recording or no? Because it like really helped with the roll call, because I was able to like talk about things that he had doubts about and all the problems and stuff, so it kind of led the interview. And I'm just trying to find Bachi's recording, but I can't seem to find it. And then I remember Cristiano never saw.
I think I saw the phone, bro. Because I remember I was very hesitant of even selling him in the first place. And so I was like kind of just started a text and phone calls. Let me see.
Yeah, if you could, just try. Nah, nothing in GHL either.
Oh, I got it.
No ways. What'd you find?
Oh, yes, I got it, okay.
Now I'm gonna take all of the things that you mentioned to Adam, because Adam would have said like, so like with Raul, Cristiano says like, what got you interested? Because we have to like figure out the pain, right? We have to understand, and it also helps with the sell. So we're like, you know, what got you interested? Are you currently missing phone calls? Okay, so you told me that your staff aren't picking up the phone. What does that kind of look like for you? Are you having to jump in? Are these calls getting missed? Like, what does that look like? Then they talk about it. It's like, okay. And just out of curiosity, how many calls do you think you get a day? 20? Okay, would it be safe to say that you miss like 10% of those calls? Oh, we probably miss like 20. Okay, so like four calls a day. Okay. And you said your average order value is like $40. So I mean, just based off of what I can see here, if you open like 5 days a week, that's $160 a week. You're losing close to, $160 a day. You're losing close to like $700. Would you say that's like unreasonable? No, that's probably right. Okay. So why did you decide to solve this now? And then he'll talk about like, he wants to maybe like open up a new location, he wants to try and make as much money as possible, and that kind of stuff really helps with the before and after in the course. So now I'm going to take the transcript, I'm not going to watch the whole thing, take the transcript, put it in Claude. Basically, what I will do is figure out all the pain points and then reverse engineer questions, included my current script, to ask them about the case study questions.
So,
This is Frank.
I want you guys to take the order, put it through owners.com. Because if I don't have my drivers, owners.com will send me a Uber Eats.
Don't be a hater. I'm gonna start charging for commercial. He's gonna use our video. Nobody else is gonna beat us. Tell Miguel to make 2 lasagnas and give us 4 meatballs and toast some bread. Yeah, toast some bread.
Obviously, this is like the first time I'm meeting many of them. Obviously, I did majority of these guys' personal onboarding myself, checked in with them multiple times. But the way that I thought about it is, how can we get them a little warmed up? And so the first thing that I did was obviously meet them, make sure they were good, how everything's been, but then starting with a walkthrough, because I have tons of questions that I asked, right? Like things that I was truly curious about, their kitchen, their employee, like how they employ, what's their secrets, things of that sort that I wanted to understand. But that really opens them up and starts getting them in this mode of like, I'm gonna be getting questioned, let me answer, because you know, they're asking about me and everyone loves talking about themselves. And so we kind of got them warmed up, and then we sat them down for the case study, asked them about themselves, their story, and then how Certus has helped them.
Sometimes I used to put the phone off the hook because I couldn't handle 5 lines ringing. I used to take the phone, throw it in the garbage.
Because if I understand them, I understand our ICP, and if I understand our ICP, I can market to them better, but I can also build a product that they truly love.
A restaurant that doesn't have this system in their restaurant, forget about it, they're crazy. I would never want to go back to hear the phone ring or to answer the phone. And sometimes when there's a problem, I got to answer 1 call because something went wrong, the adjuster, I go crazy. I don't want to answer. This is probably the best bill that I pay every month. Like, this is unbelievable. It was great. We had a great time.
I really appreciate it.
My man. Good work.
Yeah.
I see you guys in October. I got my phone. You don't call me. You don't chit chat.
You've also got mine. So
Yeah. I'm going to see what's up.
I'm your owners.com supporter.
All right.
Right now we are in Naples, Florida. Beautiful place actually, very beautiful. But we were here to go meet one of our customers. Great learning experience, got a ton of advice, both for the business and personal, let's put it that way. But more importantly, like got to hear all the things that he loved about Certus, but all the things that he'd want to see from us. It's kind of like the thing where, like, you know, you have kids and your kids like achieve great things, and some part of you is just like, wow, like I can't believe, like, we helped in this journey. I think that's the same way that you look at like the product, where at the early stages it was you just hearing shit and eating shit from customers, like because every person goes through that phase. Like, you know, you get the feedback, you iterate. I'm always asking customers for negative feedback so I know what we can improve on. That sometimes I forget to like ask for the positive stuff, to also like understand what they like. And I think both yesterday and today were great experiences for me.
I think there's something very special about meeting customers in person. I talk about this a lot, but there's just a certain type of relationship you build with these customers, but there's also a certain type of like feedback that you get when you're in person with them that I think is very hard to get over Zoom or over the phone. And so it was almost like an uncomfortable situation for me, because I was asking them all the things that Certus has helped them with, which yes, I care about, but not from like a fundamental standpoint of that's not necessarily going to help me build a better product, right? And so putting myself in that position was a bit uncomfortable, but hearing how open they were to talking about, like, especially some customers, how open they were to talking about how it's helped them and what their life was like before Certus, yes, it made me kind of emotional, because it was like the first time me like truly seeing that eye to eye, and like also seeing how serious they were, and like how much it almost felt like relief on their face, which was something that was really crazy to see. And I mean, like I've had Robert, one of our founding engineers, like shed tears listening to some of these videos. Even though he wasn't on there, he shed tears because he was like, holy shit, it's crazy to see that the product we build has such an impact. Like on a founder level, like shedding a tear, that's cool, right? It's like, yeah, you care. But like having like an engineer who was not part of this problem when it started, who joined this because he wanted to work on a hard problem and solve it for, you know, like all the things that I had told him, for him to start shedding tears, seeing the impact his work is making, is something that I think is just unbelievably special, and not a lot of people can say about their work. And so that's something I'm very grateful for, and it was really cool to see.
I think a good analogy that I heard at YC is when you start a startup in the early stages, you got to treat airplane rides like taxi rides. That's how like you should be like, I want to get on a plane to go see a customer so I can speak to them in person and get these videos, because that's how important it is. So I think now that I'm doing that again, it's going to be really exciting to implement that and understand that I'm going to be like more in it. So understand that I'm going to be more in it a little bit. So yeah. That's why. Next thing I just need to do is some admin stuff, so respond to like emails, team members, planning tomorrow, and then actually offloading a lot of my tasks that I need to do to people on the team, so that I can, because we're going to be traveling and whatnot. Like today, wasn't able to do as much work as I wanted to, because we're obviously doing the case studies, and then hopefully trying to get a good night of sleep tonight, because my whoop is telling me I'm going to die. So you know what they say?
What do they say?
They say hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Ooh.
Before we got on the flight, we realized that this place was two-hour drive from Memphis Airport. So we were like, okay, an Uber there costs about $150. Uber back costs $150. We'd be spending about $300, and we wouldn't have a place to stay. So either we slept in the airport, which we tried before, and sometimes it's hit or miss. So we were like, we'll just take a shit ton of melatonin and then do that. But realized we could rent a car for $49 for like $49, not per day, just like on its entirety. And we could easily sleep in there, recline that shit,
So we're gonna drive 2 hours to Mississippi, do the videos, meet 2 customers hopefully, and then straight back. And we've only spent, with fuel, maybe $60, bro. Got a house, we got Ubers, we got Uber number 1, we got Uber number 2, we got bedroom number 1, bedroom number 2, or bed number 1, bed number 2. We got everything, bro, in this whip.
Sick. Take the whip out, bro.
Kofi, you just gotta make sure we survive, bro. So we are out here in Tupelo, Mississippi, at our very own Wendy's. Our bathroom over there, and then this is our crib over here. It's like MTV Cribs, right? Hey, welcome to my house. Come take this here. We're here to go see our customers, not put ourselves in like a 5-star hotel and be extremely comfortable, right? And it's also the principle about like, if we didn't have this money, this is what we would do. Just because we have it doesn't mean we should do it now, right? But also I think like the cool thing is, back then, if we had to do these things, we'd do it out of complete necessity, right? Like when we first moved to San Francisco, we had no money. We basically slept in like the Tenderloin, in like the cheapest hotel, all 4 of us in one bed. Not sorry, in one bedroom. In one bedroom, all 4 of us. Can't remember what we were paying. It was the cheapest we possibly could. And those are things that we had to do because we didn't have money back then. Your question was there any point where we were like, did we run out of cash and think about giving up? Yeah. There was many times where we nearly ran out of cash, but there was never once where we thought we would give up. That never was a question. We always make the work. I don't know how. We trusted ourselves to do it, and we always did it. Like waking up with cold sweats. Me and Isaac being up in India. We went to India and lived there for like over a month just to reduce costs as much as possible. And we stayed in a 4-wall apartment, no window, 1 desk and a bed, where we would wake up, go to the desk. There's a little shared bathroom with the rest of this main house we were staying in, and we used that bathroom, sat on our desk, went to bed. And that was literally all it. And because we were working in like San Francisco time, we were up till like 8, like sometimes 8 a.m. every day. And there's videos of like shit hitting the fan, me on video like talking about like how I don't know how we're gonna get through this. Basically against all odds, we managed to make things work somehow or the other, multiple times. But the one thing that never came to mind is would we quit? Like it was always like, I think we were very cognizant of the fact that the only way that we could truly die was if we quit. And if we had to die, we'd actually have to like completely run out of money, and I would have had to max out any credit card and any personal loan that I could possibly get. So we are on our way to our customer in Tupelo, which we are already in. So we decided to, we basically decided to sleep in the car, as we mentioned. And then the Anytime Fitness, yes, it's 24/7, but there's not 24/7 people in there, obviously. So we realized we couldn't get in, found this place, called them up, $20. I was like, hi, how's it? Like, how much is a day pass? She's like, it's gonna be $20. We're like, okay. Realistically, it's the only thing that we can do if we want to shower before meeting this customer. So we're like, okay, let's go here. Sitting in the car, and I was like, I just can't fathom paying $20 for a shower. So Kofi was like, why don't we like sweet talk them? I was like, okay, let's check. Big old smile on the face, just as I normally am, right? Obviously. And say, hey, how you doing? Blah blah. Something's changed. I called you up like 10 minutes ago. Something's changed in those 10 minutes. We're gonna get in and out, but we don't want to pay $20 for a shower. Is there any ways we could? And as I said, is there any ways we could like pay like 20 between us? She like shook her head like this, and I thought she was gonna be like, no. I was like, no. And she's like, oh no, I'll just let you guys in for free. And she was like, sign here, get in, get out, take your shower, be on your way. I was like, what a lady, man, what a lady. So to be kind to people, man. Yeah, to be kind to people.
It's a lesson, right? Now we're in a rush.
We're in a rush. Let's go. Georgia. We just came out from a Starbucks that we went to at a hospital. As you can see, visitor Starbucks. I'm trying to catch up on some work because I didn't realize how much work I would technically miss out on. Like, this being a project in and of itself, it's the same as any project, is like you dedicate yourself to it. But specifically when, I think mainly when you're like a co-founder, but almost like in a CEO position, you're doing a little bit of everything, right? So a little bit of customers, a little bit of like engineering, like helping the engineering team, following up with them, making sure things are done on time, a little bit of sales stuff. So like Adam asking me to check certain things, or waiting to send certain things to people or partners, but because he needs not an approval, but he needs me to review it. You kind of forget all of the things that you would have to do and all the communications you need to do. Because I've never ever been able to work on one project solely, right? Even when I was fundraising, I was still doing other things. And so that today, while I was sitting down and doing work and catching up, made me realize how quickly we need to wrap it up. And so that's something to consider. And maybe doing a road trip isn't necessarily the smartest way to do it. Maybe going one by one and like, you know, doing it as like its own little project. So it takes a day and that's about it, rather than taking out a week and a half, 2 weeks to do it. So that's a realization that I've got. But we're in Georgia. Essentially, after we finished up in Florida, we flew to Memphis. And then Memphis, we booked a car. As we saw, we slept in the car. And then we drove to Mississippi, and we had 2 customer testimonials over there. One of them was like really good. The customer gets close to like 100 calls a day. Certus is handling close to like just over 90% of the calls, which is nuts to think that they were literally managing 100 calls a day, and then overnight from using Certus, they're only managing 10 calls a day. And it was great to see because all of them were talking about it. It was a bit unfortunate, like to be completely real, because it wasn't as good of a case study as we wanted, in the sense that they spoke great things about Certus, and obviously Certus has helped them a lot, but one of the main guys didn't want to be on camera. And that's something that I just didn't even consider, because obviously I mentioned to them it was going to be like a case study, but maybe I should have been a bit more specific, like we would need you on camera. And so that was not great as one. And then secondly, we had another customer that was 4 minutes away that I went to go help fix something to do with their point of sale. And then we got a case study with them as well, but because they weren't going to be prepped for one, he was just down to do it. He was like, yeah, I'd love to speak about it. I didn't get to prep much. I didn't have the content from previously as to like why they decided to use Certus. So I think I could have done a better job there as well, but it was very ad hoc. So to be real, I think yesterday kind of left a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth, which kind of demoralized me a little bit. But you know, if 2 case study videos are going to demoralize me, like I wouldn't have, you know, I wouldn't be in this position as to where we are today. And so it's just the natural process of running a startup. Some days are great, some days are really shit. Some days you feel like you're God, some days you question whether you should be even running a startup. And so I just think it's part of the journey, something that I'm still learning to this day. I'm sure Fortune 500 founders also feel that same way. So I really like to have frameworks guiding my life rather than certain opinions. And I think the reason for that is because everything is like, things are very subjective, and you know, the way that you respond to things, or the way that you like a path you choose heavily depends on what the other path is. Like if you can't be like, I always take a right, when you don't know what left may look like in a certain scenario. And I think that having frameworks in life allows you to consider things very logically in that certain scenario, rather than just like from the outside having a very strong opinion about like, this is the way to do things. And Bezos said this, I think it was Bezos, but he was like, having strong opinions but loosely held is the best way that you can lead a company, or you can be in life, because you're always changing your opinions. Like there's things that I'm always there's things that I always had beliefs upon that I'm like, okay, you know what? I don't believe that anymore. And I think the reason for that is because as long as you're presented with logic and data, you're irrational to not change. And the point of having strong beliefs loosely held means that when you believe something, you believe it strongly. But if it's very clear that someone is presenting you data, or there's reason to not believe that anymore, then you don't have this ego of, I need to consistently believe that one thing. I can move over, and it's important for me to do that because it's a good thing, not a bad thing, to change my opinion. So there's this guy called Jason Lemkin. He's the founder of SaaSta, which is like a fund, and it helps founders. It's like a founder community. He said that building a startup, being a CEO is 50% product, 50% sales, and 50% everything else, right? It's like, that's not possible. It's not possible. How do you get like 150%? But that's what being a founder is, right? You don't just get to focus on one thing a lot of the times. Ideally you can, and I think as the company grows, you get to do that because there's bigger things that are moving the needle. but you're really like a Swiss Army knife, and I think that it's a little bit of everything. Like, I'm responsible for content, I'm responsible for the scripting, the YouTube video going out on time, the thumbnails being designed, the editing being on point, the short form going on every single platform, then making sure that this partnership that we're working on, me going through the contracts about that, me negotiating the terms, them waiting on me to be able to respond to them, certain invoices that need to be paid, or certain things that people are following up with me on that I need to respond to, the team having certain deadlines that we've set for October, me realizing that we're April, me realizing that we're 2 weeks into April, almost 2 weeks into April, and I haven't been able to keep my regular follow-up schedule, checking in schedule, helping out, people where they need to. Like, Isaac sent me a message saying, like, I didn't realize how many different things I would have to, like, ask you about, or how many things that needed to be in place because you're not here. And so it's a lot of micro things that consistently add up, and I think that's why it feels a little bit more overwhelming, because there's so many things that need your attention, and it's more about how do you prioritize what are the things that you get done in the tiniest amount of time. And so hopefully when we go back, I don't even need to prioritize what gets done in the tiniest amount of time. I just finish everything, which I don't think is going to be possible, but yeah.
Just a working man, but I'd stay busy.
We were sitting down, and this lady came up, and she was talking about how great she loves their pizza, and she said that I called up and everything was well. And then the lady, Michelle, who's the owner, she pointed towards us, and she's like, well, you should speak to them about it. They're the AI guys. And she had a great experience with Certus. She called up, she ordered a pizza, she loved it. And then, like, literally 10 minutes later, 2 guys come in, and they go to the counter, and they're like, to Michelle, they're like, hey, we come to place our order, we come to pick up our order. By the way, do you have like an AI answering machine? She's like, yeah, those are the AI guys right there. And I was like, hey, how was it? The first thing he said in front of our customer, he was like, that was horrible, right? And obviously, like, my first instinct is to go on the back foot, right? I'm basically being called out in front of someone who's using it.
In front of a whole restaurant?
In front of the whole restaurant. Someone is basically, we've just come to do a case study, them talking about how good Certus is, and these guys start talking about how horrible it is. And I think it takes, I wouldn't say a certain level of maturity, but it does take a second to, like, process all of that. And in my mind, I was like, there's 2 ways I could approach this. The first one is I could go on the back foot and be like, we literally had someone walk in 5 minutes ago tell us how good the AI was and how easy it was to order it, versus you now telling me this doesn't work and telling me problems I've never heard of, right? So I was like, okay, first of all, I'm very confident this works. So I think the first thing is being like if you went up to Usain Bolt and you told him he was slow, right? That's live feedback, but he's probably not going to take it seriously because he's the fastest man on the planet, right? So he has the confidence to know that, okay, this guy probably doesn't know what he's talking about. So that's the first thing, is having some sort of proof to back it up really helps. And then secondly to that, it's like, you get to decide how you react. Do you want to be defensive? Do you want to maybe understand what could have actually gone wrong? What could you have made better? Maybe he had some great feedback, and yeah, sure, I probably learned a thing or two from it, but there's no point being defensive when you're building a product that you know people may not like. It's the same as a restaurant, right? Barely any restaurant has 5 stars. And if they do, I think it's a problem, right? But, like, people say the food was burnt, this was that. Like, things happen, and you want to be able to take that feedback objectively and then check, okay, like, for example, in the restaurant, people would be like, oh, this was burnt. We look back, they didn't even order it. They were just trying to get a free curry, right? And so you have to be objective. You then have to do your own research. And then from there, you have to be mature enough to know if it was wrong, you learn from it, you fix it, and you apologize. And if it was not wrong, you explain to them what potentially happened and how they can avoid it in the future. Like, maybe don't call from the car where there's music playing and 3 people talking in the back, and the AI still was able to do it, but maybe don't do that next time, right? So yeah. Oh, now we're gonna head back to Atlanta, and then from there decide where's next. But yeah, we want to wrap this up as soon as possible.
Yes.
It's longing. It's longing. Not in a bad way. It's just like, it's like I forgot how much work I would be having to catch up on. Mm-hmm. So yeah, definitely a better way to do this next time, but
it's all about learning.
It is. That's what I was telling Kofi. I said, there's no such thing as wasted labor. Now, I've done it myself. I've seen what it takes. At some point, I'm not going to be the one that is able to come out to every single case study, right? It's going to be impossible. But I know all the things to look out for. We've been to 6 different types of restaurants, 6 different types of people. Couldn't have asked for a better learning experience. And yeah, I'm just very excited because I just think it's just going to get better and better. Got you. trying to get it to Isaac as fast as possible because we have till the 16th. It's more about you being confident that when Isaac tests it, he can just do what he needs to do and you're happy with it. So if tonight is going to be that, then that's great. If not, do you think it will still be tonight, or do you think it'll be in a couple of days? And one of the things that I think I've been postponing a lot is something that I used to do religiously at a certain point in my life, is just extremely self-educating. And I think what that means is like sitting down and like reading books and things of that sort. I still listen to podcasts. I still, try listen to a podcast every day while I'm eating or whatever it is. So I'm still self-educating. And obviously when you iterate, right, when I see something happen in the company, I take that feedback, I reiterate, I develop a new skill or a new mindset, and then I go for it. And so that will never change, right? Consistently self-iterating as a founder is very important. But I feel like I've maybe for the last 3 months not been able to intentionally self-educate, so study certain things that I'm interested in that aren't really relevant to Certus right now. So my boss at my previous job, my first job ever, he said this thing that I find very funny. He said, "There's more than enough time in the world, but not enough time in the day." And I think that's a very funny quote because it's just like there's so many things to do. You just don't have enough hours in the day to do it. I learn so much every week, and I feel like I change so much every week that there's not something that I can pinpoint right now. I think there's so many things that I had to work on, which is like, again, framing the mindset, leading people, inspiring people, ensuring standards are held, ensuring that, we're pushing ourselves to the absolute max, meaning that if we think something can get done on Tuesday, how can we ensure it gets done on Sunday? How can I ensure that the people in my team are pushing themselves? Because the number one skill I want to consistently work on is how can I shorten my feedback loop, which is how can I see something go wrong, how can I self-educate, and how can I ensure I don't do that again within the shortest amount of time frame as possible. I was in the car just working on my own thing, and then a customer sent us a message like asking about something. I jumped on it in like a second, solved 3 issues with the team in like 2 minutes, then closed my laptop. Another support query came in. I was walking, doing and fixing that support thing on my phone. Now obviously I can't do that all the time because I have to work on other things, and it's a very small part of my day, but I was telling Kofi that I'm just in love with customer support. And the main reason for that is just, it shows me 2 things. One, how much, what exactly are the issues our customers are facing today, which really helps me figure out the product roadmap, right? So for example, 2 of these were things that they could solve themselves if they went into the dashboard, but it tells me that our customers aren't necessarily finding the dashboard, A, intuitive enough to figure it out themselves, or B, they're not using it enough for them. They're not using it at all because it's not easy to access on the web. And so that's why, the app that we're launching is going to be there to be able to solve that for them. And so the one reason I love customer support is because A, it keeps me very close to the problem and shows me to this day, even though Certus is still working really well, what are the little things that we can continue to work on, or what are the big things that we can continue to work on from hearing from our customers. And it's a much shorter point of contact to be able to figure out what's wrong. So for example, these check-in calls, these can take me 10 to 30 minutes and then 10 to 30 minutes to actually schedule them and line them up, whereas answering support tickets is basically the same as doing a check-in call because you're getting feedback from the customer. So that's the one. And then secondly, I just love seeing customers' problems be solved. And it's like a dopamine hit for me, right? It's like when you build massive features and massive products in your company that solve a big problem, that's amazing, but it takes quite long to get that dopamine hit of being okay, this is solving something for customers. Whereas every support ticket that's resolved is that customer's more happier, they're enjoying Certus, we were able to solve their thing in 30 seconds. And so that's the other thing. But I think it's very important. I think any CEO or founder that is not understanding what problems the customer's facing on a day-to-day basis still is not going to be able to figure out how to continuously improve and iterate on the product. Last time we came to Buffalo and we had 2 things on our list. We want to see Dirty Bird and we want to see Lil Bakery. Lil Bakery owner fell very sick, so we couldn't see him. And we're basically wrapping up the trip. Had 2 more on my hit list. One is a bit, we'll see. But I could not leave knowing that maybe in a couple of days the owner of Lil Bakery would recover and we could do it. So instead of like having the chance or giving the chance of like, or just staying in like Atlanta and not doing anything, just like, why not just come to Buffalo, assume he's gonna say yes, and that he's gonna feel better, and then hopefully maybe tomorrow we could just go to him and do the case study, because I can't leave without it because we had it down. So some might say that the fact that we came here without it being set in stone is a bit reckless or risky, but I'm very confident we'll make it happen. Like, yes, we don't have a yes. It's not set in stone. There's nothing to it. But I don't know what I was gonna do in bumfuck Atlanta, and then coming here is just like solidifying that we have to make it happen. Now we have no choice. Now we're not leaving until we get it done. So can be risky, but if it pays off, then it was never risky. Hey, just wanted to let you know that we're on the East Coast right now and are about to wrap up our trip. We're likely going to head back to San Francisco in the next couple of days, in brackets 2 days probably, and I thought it'd be worth checking in to see if you'd be down for us to come through again to meet up and shoot the videos. I know you're still recovering though, which is why I wanted to ask, because I don't want to be pushy on this, since your health is obviously the most important, but since we're already here, I thought it was worth letting you know. We're free anytime from today and would love to swing by. Let me know what you think, and hopefully you're recovering quick. I think I should be a little bit more direct this time.
I think just say, look.
Hey, we're in Buffalo.
Just say we're in Buffalo. We've got a flight out tomorrow night.
Sent him a text. Said, hey Jason, hope you're feeling better. Didn't want to bug you, but I hate myself if I didn't follow up, since we're already in Buffalo now and leaving tomorrow, and I'm not sure when I'm going to be back. Would love to swing by, meet, and shoot the case study. If you're up for it, let me know. And he goes, yeah, what's up, buddy? Yeah, I'm feeling way better now, thanks for asking. I'm actually not in Buffalo or Niagara right now. I'm down south by my buddy's camp, helping him with the whole place because it's flooded, which is why I've been offline. But I'm going to be coming back tonight. He said I actually might be coming back tonight, and I can let you know in a few hours. Maybe we can do something tomorrow, question mark. So I know it's not going to happen today, but we said, like I said, as long as I get a reply today and we know if it's going to be happening tomorrow, I might do it tomorrow. But he said a couple of hours, so I'm guessing by the time we hit our gym workout,
What you had and what you love, and what you had and what you love.
I think a lot of the times when I think of things that happen, good or bad to me, it's like, how can I ensure those good things continue to happen, or how can I prevent those bad things from happening in the first place? I think one skill that I've tried to learn is how do I detach myself from things I truly can't control, which is very minimal things, but that's usually the dependency on other people. And so one thing that kind of sucked was like the variations, or like the inconsistency of like a restaurant and a schedule, and us having to like change things hundreds of times. I guess like a only solution to that, if I have to like go back into it, is like maybe just schedule them one day out and like pull up there directly. You know, there's always things that you can do. We've just kept pushing back, pushing forward. When this testimonial was going to happen, he recovered, and then his campsite flooded, so then he had to go back to his campsite. He was going to come back that same night, and then I called him and he told me that the gas started leaking, so they ended up having to drive back, and now they were driving to town to see if they could get some gas clippers to make it work, or else they would have to order from Amazon and wait for Amazon to come, which would only come today, which would cook our whole schedule. And Kofi's got to fly back tonight, so we gotta try. Let's see if he can try and make this work. All right.
Hello.
Jason, how you doing, sir?
Good. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing okay. Were you able to get clippers for the gas?
Dude, we're still up here.
Oh no, that sucks.
I'm just sitting at the counter drinking a cup of coffee.
Okay.
We ordered all the carts on Amazon.
Oh, they're coming today?
Today or tomorrow, hopefully.
Okay. All right. Well, look, we're gonna have to go back tonight. So it was unfortunate we weren't able to make it work this time, but whenever, I mean, look, I'm sure there'll be another time to do something.
Absolutely.
But I really appreciate you trying to make the time. And I'm glad you're doing much better, you personally.
Yeah, well,
unfortunate the campsite.
Crazy 3 weeks, buddy.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, I appreciate you keeping me in the loop. And again, unfortunately we weren't able to make it work out, but you know, at the end of the day, hopefully there's always another time.
There will be, I promise you.
Yes, sir, of course. All right, well, I'll leave you to it. I know you've got a lot of stuff to get sorted, but yeah, thanks for the call, sir.
All right, my friend. Talk to you
Cheers.
soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Maybe it was not meant to happen. There was the thing is trying to be a little bit more content with things that are truly out of your control. Like, I think the one thing that I've always tried to do ever since I was like 15 at least was, so I read this book. I want you guys to read it. It's called As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. One of the best books in the world. It's a book I've gifted 4 times already. And if I kind of want to be at a point where I just have like a briefcase full of these books, I just gift it to people. And the premise of the book is, as a man, you can like, as a man thinketh. But basically what it is, it's like you at any point in your life can change your identity and can change your life with the power of cause and effect, which is like you do one thing and something happens, right? If you plant a tomato seed, you're not going to get a potato, right? You're going to get tomatoes. And so that's the premise. And so it's basically assuming everything is always in your control so that you can never be conflicted with the outside world. That's something that is like very hard, because sometimes it's like, you know, like for example, if a team member fucks up, I take responsibility. I'm like, why did they fuck up, right? Did they not know what to do? Did they not know what to do? Did they not have the resources to do it? Did they really just not care and I didn't motivate them enough to do it? Like, what was the reason? And obviously if it was like blatant and whatnot, you know, there's consequences to that. But at the end of the day, I could have still, at some point in that journey of them being part of Certus, I could have made a difference, and maybe that wouldn't have happened. Maybe I shouldn't have hired him in the first place. And so if you take absolute accountability, then what that allows you to do is it allows you to ensure that everything is changeable. Because if you don't take absolute accountability, then it feels like things are happening to you, not from you. Is there some things that are truly out of your control? We had this scheduled in for Monday. He got sick. He couldn't wake up for a week. We then planned the trip. We then communicated with him every couple days since, so we never stopped communication. We booked it in, campsite flooded, booked it in for the next day, gas leak. So these are things that I truly could have not prevented, as long as I kept the communication up, which I did. But then the other side of my brain is like, next time it's not going to be like, next time I'm just going to like come straight to him, that kind of thing. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
At least we can fly back knowing that we tried everything we truly could have. Every month it feels like we operate a new company, not in terms of the mission and the goal and what we've built, but just how much better the product gets every month. And every month I'm like, holy shit, this is gonna solve like a bottleneck that we've had for 6 months. Literally every single month. Like, aside from our customers, the thing that like makes me wake up every day is just knowing the people that we're building with and the people that we've got in the pipeline to bring on at a certain point. Because at the end of the day, like, one, if you don't build with people you don't like, you're not gonna wanna wake up. And then secondly to that, if the people that you like just happen to be fucking geniuses and really good at what they do, it's a win-win for everyone. And one thing that I've heard from many people is just the culture that we've built at Certus is great. And that's something I really value. And building all these incredible things with the people that we're building with is what makes me very excited about Certus. I think like, you know how you get homesick? Where like you miss your parents? Like I miss the team.